When I left for Greece, I told myself it was just a short break, a week to breathe, to escape the noise of our marriage that had slowly turned into a storm of sighs and silence. My husband, Daniel, didn't argue when I said I needed space. He simply nodded, that same quiet resignation that had replaced the laughter we once shared. I booked my flight the next morning, blocked his number before I could change my mind, and convinced myself it was a harmless digital boundary. Just a week. No calls, no messages, no guilt. I needed to remember who I was before I became someone's wife. The island was beautiful, almost too beautiful for someone trying to forget her reality. I drank wine by the sea, posted filtered sunsets, and smiled for strangers. When my friends back home commented, "You look happy," I almost believed it. Every evening I stared at my phone, tempted to unblock Daniel, but then I remembered the way he'd look at me lately. Not angry, not sad, just gone. Like I was already a ghost in his world. By the fourth night, guilt began to gnaw at the edges of my freedom. I wrote him a message. "I miss you." But before I could hit send, I deleted it. I told myself he was fine, probably relieved not to deal with my moods for once. When I finally landed back in Boston, jet-lagged and sunburned, I felt that nervous flutter you get before you see someone you love after too long. The cab ride home felt endless. I imagined him waiting, maybe upset, maybe distant, but there. The house was quiet when I arrived. Too quiet. His car wasn't in the driveway. Inside, the lights were off, the air stale. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Faint, unfamiliar. Not bad, just empty. Like a room that hasn't been lived in. "Daniel!" My voice echoed down the hall. No answer. His shoes weren't by the door. His jacket was gone. Even the framed photo from our wedding, the one he'd refused to take down after our last fight, had disappeared. First I laughed. Had to be a joke. Maybe he'd gone to stay with his brother, trying to give me the same space I'd demanded. Checked my phone. Still blocked. I unblocked him, expecting a flood of missed calls or texts. Nothing. Called. The line rang once, then cut off. Straight to voicemail. A chill crawled up my spine. I went room to room, opening closets, drawers. Everything looked cleaned out. Half the clothes missing. His toothbrush gone. In our bedroom, the bed looked untouched. Cold. Then I saw the envelope on his nightstand. My name written in his neat handwriting. Emma. My hand shook as I opened it. Inside there was no letter. Just a key. House key. The one I'd given him on the day we moved in together. No note. No explanation. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at that key until my vision blurred. Every sound in the house suddenly felt amplified. The ticking clock, the hum of the refrigerator, the faint creak of the floorboards under my feet. He was gone. Not angry. Not broken. Just gone. I tried calling his friends, his office. No one had heard from him in days. His brother said Daniel had taken a few days off, but didn't say where he'd gone. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept wondering if I'd pushed him too far. Maybe blocking him wasn't harmless after all. Maybe he took it as the final proof that I didn't care. By morning I decided to check our shared bank account. My stomach dropped when I saw it, zero. Every dollar transferred to a separate account under his name. The same one I didn't know existed. And just like that I realized, Daniel hadn't disappeared. He'd walked away, completely, deliberately, and without looking back. For the next 3 days I lived in limbo, half denial, half dread. His phone stayed off. His emails bounced back. It was as if Daniel had never existed. I kept replaying everything. The fights, the silence, the look in his eyes the night I told him I was leaving, just for a while. He hadn't argued. He hadn't begged. He'd simply said, "Take all the time you need." I used to mistake his calm for indifference. Now I wondered if it had been acceptance. The fourth morning, a brown envelope arrived by courier. No return address. Inside were documents. Divorce papers, signed only by him. Tucked between them was a short note, written on plain white paper. "You taught me how to disappear, Emma. I just learned to do it better." The room spun. My hands trembled as I read those words again and again. There was no anger in his writing, no accusation, just quiet finality. The kind that hurts more than shouting ever could. I thought of all the nights I'd accused him of not understanding me, of being emotionally distant, when in truth I'd been the one running. I'd blocked him to find myself, but somehow he'd found his way out of us. I tried to track him down, called his brother again, messaged his old college friends, even checked with his office. The polite replies all sounded the same. Daniel doesn't work here anymore. It was like he'd planned every detail before I even left. The more I looked, the more I realized how careful he'd been. His closet wasn't half empty. It was completely reorganized, as if he'd taken only what mattered and left behind everything tied to me. The photos, the joint lease, even our dog's adoption papers, gone. And then I noticed the small USB drive taped underneath the letter tray on his desk. My heart raced as I plugged it into my laptop. There was only one file, a video. When it opened, I saw Daniel sitting at our kitchen table. The same one where we'd eaten in silence for months. "Hey," he started, his voice low, steady. "If you're watching this, I guess you came back." He paused, looking straight into the camera. "I used to think love meant waiting. Waiting for someone to see you, hear you, choose you again. I waited for you, Emma. Even when you stopped looking at me." My throat tightened. "I didn't leave because you went on a vacation," he continued. "I left because you already left, a long time ago. You just didn't pack a suitcase when you did it." He smiled, a sad, peaceful kind of smile. "Don't blame yourself too much. You were right. We both needed space. I just finally found mine." The video ended there. Just a blank screen, and the faint reflection of my own tear-streaked face. That night, I sat on the porch, the same one where Daniel used to drink his morning coffee. The city lights blurred through my tears, and I wondered if he was looking at the same sky somewhere else, feeling lighter without me. The silence he left behind was deafening. In the days that followed, I started packing my things too. Every drawer I opened felt like a small confession. How long I'd taken him for granted. How easily I'd dismissed the quiet ways he'd tried to stay connected. The notes he'd leave on the fridge. The way he'd ask, "Are you okay?" Even when I snapped back. And then, as I was sealing the last box, I found an old postcard wedged behind the refrigerator. A photo of a beach in Santorini, the same island I'd visited. On the back, in Daniel's handwriting, it read, "I hope you find the peace you were chasing. I already did." That was the moment I stopped crying. Not because the pain was gone, but because I finally understood it. I hadn't lost him during that week in Greece. I'd been losing him for years. In every unspoken word, every ignored moment, every blocked message that wasn't about phones but hearts. Daniel didn't vanish to punish me. He vanished to free himself. And in a strange, painful way, I respected him for it. Sometimes disappearing isn't running away. It's choosing to stop waiting for someone who already left in spirit.